Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. RJ Horner back again for another episode of Leaders Lighthouse, our podcast here in Beacon of Leadership. I'm here joined by another fellow Beacon, as we like to call her. Introduce yourself, please, Linda.
Yes, I'm Linda Tilson, and as you said, a fellow Beacon I am. And I'm really excited to get into tonight's topic. I'm jazzed and juiced and ready
Ladies
to
and
go.
gentlemen, awesome. And also joining us today, I'm excited about this, a mentor of mine, somebody I've learned a lot about purpose and following your heart and following your passion. Cora, you want to introduce yourself, please?
Thank you very much for having me, RJ and Linda. And yes, I've known RJ maybe at least 5 or 6 years ago. He used to be a member of my club. We went together in events, and I'm happy to be a part of RJ's life as much as he has been a part of my life, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. And like I said, I know how much you are about following your passion and definitely talking about purpose. You have created your Toronto Women's Club from following that purpose, choosing that path and then committing to that path. So tell people a little bit, before we get too deep into it, a little bit about Toronto Women's Club and how it came to be.
Yeah, I founded Toronto Women's Club February 18 of 2017. So that's almost 6 years. We are going to celebrate our 6th year in February of 2023. And how it was born is it was out of my personal story, which RJ knows that everybody has a story, right? Everybody has a story. But I use my story to put up a platform that is going to be a model for people, especially women, as the name implies. It is Toronto Women's Club. It is for women, but RJ, who is a man, became a member, and I think there are about 8 or 9 men who became members of the club. And as I said, how it came about is because it was born out of my personal story. It is a story of overcoming obstacles, of overcoming challenges in life, of being an immigrant in this country who became a single mom with 4 children, and how it has transformed me. And so I thought anybody for sure will go into probably a similar situation, although a different story, that this can become a platform to inspire, educate, and empower women. So that's the Toronto Women's Club. And as you know, even before the pandemic, I used to do quarterly events where you have been in my event. It is a whole day event, in-person event. And I did that in a hotel in Hilton Garden in Mississauga most of the time. And then I get speakers. As you know, I have gotten speakers in the likes of Sunil Tulshani, Raymond Aaron, Sadna Sabarwal, Jane Katkova Brown, even Dr. John Gray, and even Marie
Sharma.
Marie of the Secret. I forgot her last name, Marie. Marie, who is part. So these people these speakers are great speakers who can who can add value to people who are coming. And as you know, people from a minimum of, let's say, 40, 50 people, as much as 120 people I have in an event. And I have also produced big events like bringing Jack Hanfield, and I have shared stages with the big boys, as you know, Jack Hanfield, Brian Tracy, Kevin Harrington, Robert Allen, Dr. John Gray. Even during the pandemic, I have brought Dr. John Gray twice, at least twice. And I have written and co-written at least 7 books. So these are the things that I have done. And I did not have the slightest idea where the Toronto Women's Club will go when I put it up. I just had that simple objective and goal of being able to inspire, educate, and empower women. And we really don't need to know what lies ahead. Many people think they need to know everything. There is no guarantee. There is no certainty as long as you focus on your vision and mission. And that's the secret. You just focus on your vision and mission. And as the name of this topic implies, commit to the process.
Yes.
Just commit. You have to trust it. And as long as you have 100% commitment, anything less than 100% is sabotage.
Yes. And that's hard, right? That's hard for people because 100% commitment to anything, especially with this distracted environment where we got all of these things going on, to try to maintain 100% dedication to any cause in this day and age is pretty difficult.
It is very hard. It is actually very hard. It takes a lot of sacrifices. I have sleepless nights. I had to skip my eating lunch, breakfast, and dinner. There's a lot of sacrifices because all I think is how to be of value and how to deliver, let's say, a good event. And I knew nothing. I came from zero. I knew nothing because I'm a certified accountant and a real estate professional. I can just stick with my real estate investing and real estate as a real estate agent, and I'm okay. But when a vision and a mission is presented to you by the universe, you cannot turn back on it. You have to honor it, and that is the key. And the universe is going to support you all the way. But you have to do the job. You have to do the dirty work. There's a lot of work to be done.
Yes. And I love what you say. Once you think about it, you keep thinking about it, and eventually it becomes something that just all encompasses your life. The article we're talking about today, it's from I should quote it so that people know. So I'm not stealing their work. It's from the School of Genius, a website called OVPAD. And one of the things they say is any stimulus of thought which is repeatedly sent to the subconscious mind is finally accepted and acted upon by it. And that's really what we're talking about. Look, I'm still on this journey. I'm still learning where I'm going. I'm where you were 5+ years ago, right? My community is just evolving. It's just becoming something that's really going to, I hope, empower people, much the way Toronto Women's Club has done. But that's because I have thought about this for years at this point, till it becomes something that I cannot help but pursue. So it's part of my being. It's part of what I do. It's not about should I do this at this point, or there's no doubt in my mind this is the way I'm meant to serve. And that's really where the definite purpose comes in. So Linda, you've had a look at this article, and we're going to walk through it. Before we get into any of the steps, let's hear your thoughts of where we're going with this, or what did you take away from this article?
Really, what I took away from this article is a lot of times we know what our purpose is. We know some of the steps we need to take to get there. But you mentioned this, you have to have 100% commitment. That's what Cora said, 100% commitment. You got to have it in front of you. You've got to get specific. And what I like about what Bruce did is he wrote a letter of commitment to himself, and he defined with specific areas that he wanted to address, how he was going to do it, and it was quantified. And he would read it to himself every day, in the morning, at night, and that's how he got to where he got. And for me, just going through and reading this article, it was a pretty short article, so it was easy to do. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to be like Bruce. I'm going to just sit down right now, and I'm going to take what I've been working on, my purpose that I know what it is, and I'm going to put it and articulate into words. And the moment you start putting something into words, you start to actualize it. But it's more than just wanting to go somewhere, right? It's like, okay, what steps am I taking? When am I going to do it by? And how am I going to know that I'm staying on track? What happens when I go off track? Well, you're less likely to go off track when you can articulate what it is that you're moving towards with specific things. So, yeah, you're going to have a statement. You're going to have that definite purpose, that place that you're aiming for. But where it really happens is when you start to write down the specific things you're going to do, and you're doing a few things every day and they all go towards the goal. A lot of us like to do many things, and I'm not going to say you can't do many things, but if you pick that one central thing and you have certain things that fall underneath it that support it, you're going to be a lot more likely to hit it and hit it hard. And I was noticing things within 24 hours of writing that statement. And I've been working in this area, but this gave me an even tighter plan that I could articulate on paper. And so I got excited. I got down and got my pencil, wrote it all out, had a couple iterations, and now I'm pretty solid pretty solid in what I put together, because I've written so many mission statements, purpose statements. But this one I think just takes the cake because I got really specific.
Yeah, and if you could follow his example, and we'll get to that very shortly. So I love, again, so the article, let me tell you, by the way, is called How to Make a Definite Purpose and Achieve Goals Like Bruce Lee. Because I love what he wrote. Like, it is detailed, it is specific, it talks about how he's going to become wealthy. And that's not wrong for us, right? That's something I learned from Cora. It's not wrong to want to be wealthy because of the things you can do and how you can change and empower people through wealth. So it's not wrong. But so you mentioned writing it down, right? Write down that definite major purpose, reading it aloud twice a day, and that will create a burning desire to create and achieve your goals. So I'll read out Bruce Lee's letter to himself so that people understand exactly how powerful this one letter can be. And I don't know if we'll get time, because we're talking a lot about this subject, but we're going to run through the steps as well of how to put this together. So let me talk about the letter. It says, Bruce Lee, will be the first highest paid Oriental superstar in the United States. In return, I will give the most exciting performance and render the best quality in the capacity of an actor. Starting 1970, I will achieve world fame, and from then onward till the end of 1980, I will have in my possession $10 million. I will live the way I please and achieve inner harmony and happiness. Signed and dated by Bruce Lee. It's very specific, right? Sure, he says, I want to have $10 million, but it also says, what am I going to do in order to achieve that dream, right? So he's going to become the biggest superstar, which, I mean, that's a lofty goal, but I think he achieved that in what we know of Bruce Lee. But he also talked about, look, I'm going to be an exciting entertainer for people. People are going to want to watch me. And then I'm going to achieve world fame from then onward. Okay, until his passing, which was an unfortunate incident, but he was somebody who achieved exactly that major definite purpose. So let me talk through the steps, and we can add our own commentary on what those steps are and how we can use them in our lives. So the first one, we've all talked about this already. Step one is determine your specific desire. Now, I've mentioned mine, and I had doubts about this for a long time. I want to be a next major thought leader. You mentioned Jack Canfield, Cora, Brian Tracy, Dr. John Gray. These are people who I've met through my influence through you. Thank you and bless you for those. But I want to be on that platform. I want to share the message that they've imparted into me. I need to share that for the next generation. So I know that's my mission. That's part of my purpose. And while I used to have doubts about that, again, it's through repetitive conditioning that I know I'm on that path. I know I'm going to achieve that. So that is my definite chief purpose, is to take over as a next powerful thought leader in empowering people. Anybody want to take in and add their thoughts there? Maybe Cora, because again, you brought some of these people into my life. I have shook hands with Brian Tracy and Dr. John or Jack Canfield, and what a blessing that was. So please tell us how you've had and connected with these people and through your definite purpose.
You know, this definite purpose, vision, mission, they were from like hundreds of years ago, whether it is coming from, because what I noticed, I read all the books of Wallace D. Wattles, from The Science of Getting Rich, The Law of Attraction from Rhonda Byrne, and Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill. Wherever you are getting, they are all just the same. They are all just the same if you will notice it. Then they are written and rewritten with different interpretation, but they're just the same. Burning Desire. Burning Desire is from Think and Grow Rich of Napoleon Hill. Intention, desire, they are the same. So what I'm saying is, you read from Bruce Lee, you read from Wallace D. Wattles, you read from Napoleon Hill, you read from Rhonda Byrne. They're all the same. I read all of them. And it's the same. So it will come from desire, from intention. And from, if you read Dr. Deepak Chopra, there's two things, intention and attention. Intention is one thing, but attention is another thing. Yes, it is only your intention, but what are you doing about it? If I ask you, RJ, what is your intention? What is your desire for 2022 or even for 2023? What is your desire?
Set myself up as a thought leader, as to empower as many leaders as I can to step forward.
That is your desire. That is your intention. What will be your attention? What are you going to do so you are going to achieve that desire or intention? How can you become a thought leader?
By sharing my message and being active and engaging with these people daily.
You will share your message. Now, how are you going to continuously have a message, a content that is going to be of value to people? Where are you going to get your messages? They will not just come from the air, right? So how do you grow yourself in order to continue to be of value to people?
Absolutely. You can't see, but behind me, I have 100 or more books of many of the same people that you're talking about. Robin Sharma, Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, all their stuff is on my library, and I continue to take in that.
So then you know how to create the mission statement, the vision statement, and then now you have action plans, how you are going to accomplish that. Then you create your action plans. Then you write your SMART goals. SMART goals, specific, measurable, actionable, SMART,
realistic,
S, specific, M, measurable, A,
achievable,
R is realistic, and T is time. There is a timeline. So SMART goals. So these are the things. And then you have to review it every day. Then you chunk it down. You chunk it down to, because for example, you want to make $1 million next year. It is just a hypothetical example. Then you chunk it down into maybe weekly, monthly, because it's like $1 million how you are going to do that, right? So there's a lot. There's the process. As you said, you commit to the process, and there is a process. Mission, vision, and then you have your SMART goals. And then you break it down into the 7 areas of life. You know the 7 areas of life. You have personal, you have financial, career and business, spirituality, legacy, health and fitness, and then there's the 7th one in all of those areas. Because I do this as an exercise with members of the Toronto Women's Club. And we do this either before the end of the year or the beginning of next year, because you set your goals on an annual basis on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis. So this is the process.
Absolutely. And then so you mentioned the SMART goals, and then so I've already started to write my major chief aim, write down on paper while we're working. You mentioned the last one of the SMART goals, which is timeline. So that is step 2 in this process, which is establish the end date. Linda, tell us more, because you said you wrote out one last night after reading this article. Talk about setting that end date and how that sets us up to achieve.
All right, so the end date is really important because we know we're going to get started right away, but we're trying to come up with something that's going to be realistic. It's going to need to fit into a certain amount of time, and the time helps you to go backwards. So if you have the end in mind and you know you're getting started now, what steps are you going to take in order to be able to obtain that goal? That's why you do that. It's called reverse engineering to some people, and I love doing everything that way. I've hit more targets by reverse engineering because you can anticipate the roadblocks that you might have come along the way, because none of this comes easy.
That is correct. We call it reverse engineer. You set the goal with the end in mind, and you put the date. Like if I have to do an event, okay, I decide on the date. Let's say October 30. I book the hotel. Then then I reverse engineer it. From then to now, what am I going to do, right? So that's reverse engineer. That is correct.
Absolutely. And I remember that from our very first coaching session, you and I, that was the first thing you said to me is pick a date. You know what I mean? You say you want the pick a date.
Remember
now,
that?
I put that off for some time.
Pick a date. Even if you are not prepared, you don't know how to, you don't have everything, but pick the date. Because once you pick the date and you book the venue, that's reverse engineering, and then you will be forced to commit. There is no more backing out. And that's why I also made a comment to you that don't keep on changing your date because it will become a habit. It is setting the intention to the universe, unless it's a matter of life and death. But I know the feeling of like, oh my God, it is only 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week. So you're getting nervous and as if you are not ready, right? It is really very nerve-wracking, but in my experience, I never back out. Unless it is a matter of life and death, I will really be forcing myself. And when I thought that I will not have enough people, I will have 50 people, and 50 people is a lot of people. When I'm expecting 100 and I only have 50, and 50 people is good enough, you are scared that you don't have enough people. You are scared that you are not prepared. Even the night before, I'm still doing my PowerPoints, right? So things like that. And until you get used to it and you learn from it, and you get better and better at it.
And so you've told me this as recently as 2 months ago, I think it was. You told me stop changing dates, stop canceling.
Yeah, stop canceling and changing your date, because if people will see that you are always apologizing and saying, oh, I'm sorry, I need to cancel it. I'm sorry, I need to move it. And they always see that, then they will form an impression that you are a person who cannot keep your promise. That you are a person is always postponing and canceling. And it's okay to cancel every once in a while. But if you do it in a series like 2 or 3 times, then next time I will say, RJ, how do I know? If you ask me, Cora, can you commit on this date? How do I know you are not going to cancel again? Because several times you cancel, right? So it forms the impression to people, and perception is projection. Or projection is perception in neurolinguistics programming. How you project yourself is perceived by people. Projection is perception.
Absolutely. And so I've now done 4 events because of this process where I've decided on the date of the event, determined it, and moved forward with it. Don't get me wrong. Like you said, as recently as 2 months, you had to give me that warning. I've been a lot more dedicated to my craft since that date because I took what you said to heart.
Yeah.
So I love what you said. So we've picked the end date. And now the next step number 3 is determine the price. In other words,
Price.
what are you willing to give in return? What are you willing to commit to and do in order to achieve this this purpose that we're so dedicated to, right? So what is it you're willing to do? What is it you're willing to give up? What is it you're willing to give of yourself in order to look, you want millions of dollars? You're not going to get it just by dreaming about it. Some people win the lottery. It doesn't happen to everybody. I actually don't play because I don't believe. You've told me, Cora, lots of times, hope is not a strategy, right? We have to have a plan.
Yeah,
That's the way I
because
live.
okay. I commented that because people rely on lottery. They do nothing but buy lottery tickets. And this is not the way to plan for your life, because you are living your life to chance, and I cannot live my life to chance. That's what I mean. People becomes lazy because they just keep on buying. Like I know of people who will have who buys the lottery tickets for a year. They invest hundreds and thousands of dollars because they want the easy way. Easy money, easy come, easy go. Okay? You know what happens to people? 99% of people who wins in lottery, they lose it so fast that they become poorer than before they what do you call it? Than they win in the lottery, because it is easy money. So that's what I mean by do not leave your future to chance. I cannot leave my future, my happiness and my success to chance. You have to work for it.
Right. And they say, look, if we redistributed all the wealth in the world so that everybody has an even dollar amount within a very short time, it would be back to that 1% who has all the wealth because they work at it. They know what to do. They go out there and institute the action plan and they want that money back. So they'll take it back because you who didn't earn it don't deserve it and you don't know what to do to keep it. So that was Linda. What have you been doing? What are you willing to do to achieve this major purpose that you wrote out yesterday?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I actually thought that this was the most important step out of all of them. And really, when you need to commit, you're always going to be either giving something up, whether it's your time, your energy. And so, what I had said in my statement when I was writing it, in return, I will devote my time and energy into activities that help me to document and share my specific experiences that drive results. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
And I know I haven't told you what my purpose was. I haven't read that to you, so it might be out of place to read it by itself.
Can I add something?
Sure, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you mentioned, Linda, and thank you for that. You said, I think you said time and energy.
Mm-hmm.
I will add a third one. There's 3. It's time, money, and energy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's face
That's
it,
true.
we need money.
You do. You can't
have
have
it.
that if
You
you don't
can't,
have the
yeah.
resource. Mm-hmm.
So there's another one, Cora. Look, let's say we don't have money. We want to put on these events or we want to do something that's going to help us achieve, that next $10,000 or whatever. Where are we going to get that money? I know you've done this before. So how did you do it?
Okay. OPM.
OPM.
Other people's money.
Yes.
If you do not have money, you use other people's money. You don't have time, you use other people's time. You don't have resources, you use other people's resources.
Thank you. Absolutely. And so there's things like, you want to create, let's just go with an event. You want to create an event. There's things like sponsorship. There's things like ticket sales. Of course, that helps with pay the marketing so that as you're marketing, you're making more. So the money will start to flow because you're taking that action and using that money flow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. So then step number 4, if we can move into that, is make an imperfect plan. So I've been writing out my statement as we go along. Now, this is not going to be exact, but it's going to be my first letter to myself as this definite major purpose. So my plan is imperfect. This is not the action plan. This is not what I'm going to do day to day to help this along. This is the desire written down. So it doesn't matter what you write down on day one because it's imperfect, but you can revolve it and revisit it and change as you go along day to day, but keep that definite major purpose in mind.
Agree. You don't have to be perfect.
And you pivot as you go. You're automatically reassessing every day, all throughout the plan. And that's why it doesn't have to be perfect, because the perfect plan, sometimes you got to throw it out. You got to pivot and do something different. So if you go with the perfect plan, it doesn't work out, then you're back to square one again. Then you're not achieving anything. That's why it has to be imperfect.
So I think that steps. Go ahead, Corey. You had something to add.
Okay. I have a quotation. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going.
Yes.
And keep improving or changing, because they will evolve.
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going.
And I'm sure many of people, at least us who study the books, have heard Martin Luther King's quote: "You don't have to take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase.
You just have to take
first step."
the first step. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you write that imperfect plan and start working on towards it. So then I'm starting with step number 5, write a concise statement. I've been doing that as we go along. So I'm going to be excited to tell people my imperfect plan by the end of our conversation today. So have you guys written down a statement like Bruce Lee and working from it? And how's that worked out for you?
Excellent. I'm making progress every day. I woke up this morning and I said, this is what I need to have happen. Opened up my screen. The numbers were there. The numbers that I had in my head. I opened it up. It was there. And it wasn't because I was hoping or visualizing. Yes, I was thinking about what my definite plan was and what my goal is. But I've been taking steps that add to it. Because I took the steps, my numbers increased. I have more enrollments. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we are on number 6. I've written my statement out, but reading your definite major purpose. Again, we've talked about it. You write it down, you read it at least twice a day. I have another mission statement that I was talking about. I've been reading this 3-4 times a day because it sits by my computer where I work. And every once in a while, I'll look out and read it to myself. And that's what keeps me going at this point, is that reading of that statement. Because look, if I want to be a thought leader and a professor of life and leadership, I want to be a beacon of leadership and teach these people these principles. I've got to be doing stuff to activate that. So by reading it, it's constantly first and foremost in your mind. And what you think about, you bring about, right? By focusing on it, it expands, as Tony Robbins says. So do you, Cora, have a statement that you read daily that keeps you going?
My mission statement is to touch, impact, and change at least 1 million lives. That's my
Simple,
mission statement.
direct, and it certainly is one that keeps you going, right? So I love that one. It's just, what more does it need to be? It needs to be as short and as impactful as possible to you, to your heart, so that it keeps you motivated, inspired. So on to number 7, which is changing your identity. So by reading this daily, if you're doing those things that move you forward, move you towards that, and then of course, pivot, constantly change, constantly evolve. And there's where it helps to change who you are, right? Look, Cora, as you mentioned, even as little as 2 months ago, I was still not showing up intentionally, right? Those little things would scare me off or cause me to back away, but not today. right? Because I know who I am, I know what I'm doing. So I'm more committed to this than I was even as little as 2 months ago, like I say. So you can't help but become somebody. I actually don't like that word. Remember, I'm going to remove that word from my dictionary, because it's not about becoming anymore. It's about being, just being that person who is going to achieve this definite cheap purpose. Any thoughts on that area? Who have you evolved into being at this point?
Oh, I know I have. And I've done it by working with a number of coaches and mentors. And, that's how I became a beacon. I am a beacon. And what I'm known for is my thought leadership in effectively leading teams. And the funny thing about this whole journey, I've been doing this all the time, but because it becomes easy to me to do through the things that I've learned over the years, my toolkit has grown so huge, it's easy for me that I just discounted the greatness that I could bring to the teams that I'm leading. And I thought, I need to be out teaching that. So that's what I'm doing. I know I'm this beacon. I'm shining the path on people to learn how to effectively lead teams. And we're doing it in this great pandemic environment, which you have people in person, you got people at home, you got people online. You have all these different things happening where the work has entered the home life. And that has caused a lot of concern, anxiety, uncertainty, all these things. And I'm thinking, you know what? I've been doing this. I'm the beacon. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to show the world that leadership can happen at all levels in this environment that we're in, because we're becoming adaptable. We're getting fluid. And you talk, RJ, about being afraid to step into some things and to get going. There's a lot of people that are afraid about leading in times of change. And I'm thinking, I thrive in times of change. You get to change it up every day. You get to think about what's possible. It's not impossible. It's we're possible, I'm possible. We're doing this. And the thought of not teaching that's my I can't imagine not doing that. That's my purpose. That's where I'm driven right now. And it's taken some of our conversations, just those ones tonight, where we're taking these really great teachings of people that have gone before us and things that really work and stepping into it. And what I like about Bruce Lee is he had steps that we could all step into. Anyone can step into and do this. And you could use this process to do anything that you want to do in life. And when you do that, just imagine how powerful, how empowered you are when you get to do this. And that's why I was so excited that we got to talk about this tonight. And the fact that Cora is here too. I love everything that you've been saying, what you're doing out there with women, and also bringing men into the conversation as well. That's another area I'm passionate about.
Right. And the thing is, it's personal to us, right? We write this mission statement because this is something we wanted to achieve. It's something we dream about. So go out there, read it every day, and make it happen. Cora, how far have you come from the woman who wrote A New Journey to now? Like all of the things you've done in the last 6 years. I mean, wow.
When I started, I did not know what to expect. And I have all the questions in my mind. I have fear. I have doubts. I was not really confident. I started with zero. I had no experience in doing events, in marketing. I did not know about marketing. I did not even have a Facebook account. I did not have a social media account. Imagine that. And most of all, I don't know how to speak. I was so scared to speak. I cannot go on stage. I can talk to you one-on-one, but to be in the middle of people, I cannot. And all of them, I have overcome all the fears, all the doubts, all the uncertainties, because, okay, this is it. Transformation is unconscious.
Yes.
Your learning is conscious, like when you study, when you read, when you eat, it is conscious. But the things that is happening to you, whether you call it becoming or being, it is unconscious, because there's two parts, conscious and unconscious. There are two parts of the brain, the conscious and the unconscious. Even, why do we set our goals? When you write your goals, from the writing or even in typing in your computer, it goes to the RAS. And RAS is Reticular Activating System, part of the brain. This is the magic that happens. And not many people knows this, but because I studied NLP, I am now an NLP master and a certified NLP trainer. I studied this for more than 2 years. And I just completed my NLP trainer certification last August 15. Coincidentally, right? So why do we prepare to write our mission statement using a paper, using a pen, and having a paper? I have my notebook and I have a pen and I write it because from the hands, it goes into the brain, the RAS, Reticular Activating System. And why do you have to say it? It's because you are setting it, sending the message to the universe and to your unconscious mind. That is why transformation is unconscious. What happened to me? Everything is unconscious. Consciously, I was doing events. Consciously, I was reading books. Consciously, I was speaking. But what is happening to me and how things are changing for me are all unconscious. And before I know it, from a very negative person that I was 6 years ago, I turned 360 degrees to a very positive person. From an unhappy person that I was, full of sadness, anger, hurt, shame, guilt, and sadness, I turned into a very happy, compassionate, loving, understanding, all the positive emotions. There's nothing greater than being able to change yourself from a very bad state to a very good state. I think this is the key, and I wrote it in my email newsletter yesterday. The 3 requisites for change, which is number 1, let go of all the negative emotions and limiting decisions.
Number 1,
let go of all the negative emotions, because for as long as you are angry and sad and have guilt and angry and shameful, plus the limiting decisions like I can't do it, I am not good enough, your esteem, you are not going to take number 2, which is taking actions, and then number 3 is focus. It is very easy to write a statement, but how you translate that into results is the most difficult thing for most of us, and because of these 3.
Yep. Thank you.
Yes.
Absolutely. And you've done it. You've, like I said, I've witnessed you, and that's why I wanted this discussion with you, because I know the path you've walked, and it certainly has come because you had to empower as many women as possible.
Yes, I am a testimony of a transformation. I will say that, and I did not notice it because they were unconscious. Like, I woke up one morning, I was full of my face was bloated because of infection, because I was always thinking bad. I was always angry. I was sad. I was hiding in my basement and I did not know what to do. And because of what I did, and I worked very hard on myself, then after a few years, I think 2 years of really hard work, then one day I woke up and I saw myself in the mirror, turned into the happiest, the healthiest, the most loving, and everything positive.
Absolutely.
And you when you are happy, it is contagious. When you are sad, it is also contagious. And that's how I attracted people into the club, because when I stand on stage and I can say, I'm really feeling great and I wanted to feel great and we are going to and you cannot say I'm happy, but your voice is sad, right?
Yeah.
Very people will feel you. People will feel you and see you and hear you. And when you say you are feeling great, please exude that confidence that you really feel great and you want them to bring to your world of a happy, healthy, wealthy person.
And I will say that's another thing that influenced, again, because of your community. Our angel, Wilma, even a couple of years ago, she told me that. She said, look, people can see your energy. Yes, you're talking about
Yes.
empowering principles. Yes, you're
And-
helping people, but people can see that you don't resonate with the things you're saying.
Yes, it does not match.
Yes.
It mirrors what you are saying and what you are, what you call it. They feel it. They
Yep.
feel it, they see it, they hear it. But more so, they sense your energy. And so when you say, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling great, and I'm happy, and I want you to come to my world of happiness and health and wealth, please make so that it radiates in your face, in your shadow, in your voice, in everything, in the way, in your facial expression, in your body language, and everything.
Absolutely. So let me go back right to where we started, because in the beginning, I quoted from this article, any stimulus of thought, which is repeatedly sent to the subconscious mind, is finally accepted and acted upon.
That is.
That's
When I
exactly
say
what we're
unconscious, that is equivalent to the subconscious. We call it subconscious or unconscious. They are the same.
Yeah.
Even if you study from Bob Proctor is also talking about the two parts of the mind,
Yeah.
the conscious and the subconscious or unconscious.
And by the way,
That is why we have to be very careful about our thoughts, about what we're thinking.
And speaking of Bob Proctor, I came up with the other name you were trying to think about is Mary Morrissey, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I don't have any direct connection with Mary Morrissey, but Mary Morrissey is connected with Bob Proctor.
Yes. So now if we can kind of finish up, I have been writing my definite major purpose while we talked about these steps. So I'd like to read it out. Then I'd like to hear from Linda, and then we'll wrap up and help people connect, because we've had a great conversation today. So I want to make sure people connect back with you guys. So first, my letter to myself. I, RJ Horner, will be a powerful and empowering thought leader, walking in the footsteps of those who are revered as gurus. Before the end of 2025, I will have earned $2.5 million because I am educating and inspiring people with power principles that help them achieve their dreams through events, actions, and creative content. I will be able to live life the way I want to and empower others through my shining example. Signed, RJ Horner, dated September 14th, 2022. I created this from these 7 steps in just under an hour as we were talking through them. That's how simple it is. So I hope people get that as an example. Linda, you wrote one out yesterday after reading this article. Let's hear from you on what you created as your definite major purpose.
Okay, so it's my first draft, and I can see I learned a few things today already from Cora.
Plan.
Yeah, my imperfect plan. That's right. I got to practice the principle. Okay, here we go. I, Linda Tilson, desire to be a well-known thought leader in effectively leading teams worldwide. In return, I will devote my time and energy into activities that help me to document and share my specific experiences that drive results. Starting in September 2022, I will receive paid contracts that will exceed a total of $50,000 by December 2023. I will only work with individuals of integrity that mutually support my work with genuine effort on a consistent basis. So my number may seem low. I'm not in the millions yet. So I probably need to adjust that because I know that I could do more. But I was going for the realistic. That's that part of me. I know I can do half that, so I doubled it.
So double it again, and because again, look, even Sunil tells us, right, Cora, whatever that number is, multiply it by 10. Dream big. You might not achieve it.
Okay.
But
I have mine. Can I read mine? I didn't know.
Absolutely. Let's hear from you, Cora.
I didn't know that you are going to read, but I have mine. I call it 5-year reset. 5-year reset vision Concordia, Cora, Cristobal. So it is, so 5 years, okay. Concordia, Cora, Cristobal will be worth, make it crazy, huh? $22 million by December 31, 2026. I will achieve my above goal by making Toronto Women's Club the premier global and world-class club in the world, changing and improving lives of at least 1 million people and through highly profitable real estate investments. I will attract clients, members, partners, collaborators, affiliates, investors, club owners, associations, groups, mentoring students, educators, teachers, trainers, healers, spiritual leaders, funders, and supporters. I will give at least 44 million in use value. You will note this 44 million is double the 22 million. So if I'm making 22 million, I double what I am giving, which we call the use value. Take that from the Science of Getting Rich, which I quote, if you remember, RJ.
Yep.
I will give at least $44 million in use value to all clients, members, partners, collaborators, affiliates, blah, 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 same as the first one. I will be honest, fair, just, loving, compassionate, sincere, open, transparent, responsible, grateful, energetic, calm, strong, resilient, tenacious, creative, dynamic, helpful, empowering, and inspirational. I will continuously invest into myself on a consistent basis in mind, body, heart, and soul. Cora Cristobal, March 7, 2022. So I did that on March 7, 2022.
Oh, wonderful. And exactly, it was detailed. It was a lot more detailed than Linda or I, but I love all the things you were saying. First of all, you talked about the use value, which is double of the
Double the cost
even
value.
mentions it, look, what is the price you're willing to pay? Determine the price. So in order to get that 22 million, you're going to double your effort and give people that value so that you know you're worth that $22 million that you plan to earn.
Yes.
And then the other word I love that you used in your statement was tenacious. Because look, you talked about how I on occasion I have lacked commitment. I've backed out. I've changed my mind.
Yes. Yes.
That's a lack of tenacity. I'm not committed enough. I'm not forceful
Yes.
enough in order to achieve my dreams.
You do not give up in the middle of this, because okay, I wanted to also tell you, this is a spirituality. When you are doing something like you set up an event, you are going to do an event, you are going to be tested at least 3 times. When I say tested, you will be given challenges, difficulties, problems. And if you give up, you fail. That is why I don't want you to postpone or cancel it. You have to go through like a storm, like going up to Mount Everest. When you fall down, you don't go back to where you come from. You have to go back again and learn another route. That is in reaching the pinnacle of success, you will be tested at least 3 times. You have to pass it. That is spirituality.
And I've certainly learned that lesson at this point. Go ahead, Linda.
And I wanted to share too, that point where you're ready to throw in the towel and give up, that you should not do, because you're just right on the other side. So you just keep pushing that with that tenacity. You keep going. Yes. I just needed to share that.
Because if the universe sees you are really serious, the universe is definitely going to support you in whatever challenges you have. Shoes that are already worn out, your pocket already, you're running out of money, you are hungry and all that. Somebody will give you food, somebody will give you money, all the resources will be provided to you by the universe. If you do.
And for those who are religious, they know the principle. They've heard the term, if God brings you to it, God will bring you through it. In other words, you were told to come here. You were told to do this. You may be having trouble, you may be experiencing challenges, but those resources, whatever you need to get through it, is going to come to you.
Yeah. You do not give up. And when you learn how to build your muscles, then anything, next event, or whatever it is, you already have strong muscles. You stick with it, come what may. So don't make the habit of giving up.
Mhm.
That is why I don't want you to give up.
So thank you, ladies, for being a part of this. You see how it can get away from us, because we planned for a 40-minute discussion, and here we are going on an hour. So I don't want to go any further, because we've had an amazing discussion. We've given people some amazing content and value here in this conversation. So what I want to do now is, again, you know what? By the way, let me mention, yes, I have been a member of Toronto Women's Club, but we need men to help empower women as well as men need women to help empower us on the journey. I met Linda through a men's group I belong to, where she was helping to share and empower men. We're actually putting on an event. Well, she's the spearhead as we're working to put on an event for International Men's Day. So we need each other. We can't exist without each other. So women, men, don't be afraid to join Toronto Women's Club. Women, don't be afraid to join Voice of Men 360 or be part of International Men's Day. We need each other in order to carry these messages along. So you guys have amazing work you're doing. Let's start with Linda. You're a beacon in our community. And by the way, I want to mention, Linda has talked about joining our team. We need to carry on that conversation because you belong in Beacon of Leadership. So Linda, tell people about what you're going to do right now and how people can be involved with you and what you're working on.
Well, absolutely. The International Men's Day event, go find the posts, the videos of our team. It's really exciting what's going on. You can find me at my website, learnfromlindatilson.com, and out on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all of those places you can find me. I am regularly putting posts about the events, and I've got about 3 different ones going. So you've heard about the International Men's Day. I am teaching an effective leadership course on how to effectively lead teams. That is out on my site. And then the third thing that I'm really doing is I'm providing one-on-one coaching services. So if you need to master how to set, communicate, and maintain boundaries, I offer one-on-one coaching as well. So those are the 3 things right now that I'm really leaning into.
Thank you, Linda. Absolutely. Again, and I support you, and I'm glad to be a part of everything you've got going on. And I want the same thing with what we're working on in our community. Cora, tell us more. Are you still doing Toronto Women's Club? How's that going? How can people be a part of it?
I'm still doing Toronto Women's Club. In summer, I did not do an event because I was out in my NLP training. I have one additional corporation or some additional in my plate, and that's the Cora Cristobal Institute. I am in the process of incorporating the Cora Cristobal Institute. It is now Cora Cristobal Institute as certified by the American Board of NLP, ABNLP, and it is valid in more than 50 countries. Okay, you can imagine how big it is. And in the Cora Cristobal Institute, I will be providing NLP coaching and quantum coaching, quantum, like as in quantum physics, right? So I talk about negative emotion. If there are people who have negative emotions or limiting decisions, or even unforgiving, not forgiving somebody. Like when somebody has hurt us, we are not forgiving. And before, I used not to forgive somebody, right? And this is very toxic. And people don't know that if you are not forgiving, this is like drinking a poison and hoping that the other person dies. And they don't know that it is you who is dying when you are not forgiving. So it is very important that we are whole and kind to ourselves and kind to other people. Kindness to ourselves and kind to other people. And NLP is a study of excellence, and being excellent and self-mastery, it means that we have to start from ourselves, from inside of us. And that's why I studied NLP, because it is very much supportive, and aligns to the goals, visions, and mission of the Toronto Women's Club. So now I added Cora Cristobal Institute that provides NLP coaching. So it is, well, I'm also a student of Jack Canfield in the Train the Trainer, and this is very different. NLP coaching is different from a traditional coaching because it uses the tools and techniques of NLP. So if there are anybody that you know or you may be interested about NLP coaching, I am willing to give a complimentary discovery call to talk more about your specific situation and how I can help you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I know you learned from Dr. Redmond.
Yes.
I took a course on her with her as well, a weekend course, and she really changed my thought process on I am not enough. She took that away from me.
Yeah.
In one group session. She helped remove that from my life. So from that point on, I was able to believe that I'm somebody. You know what I mean? I'm capable of doing this.
So you are enough. You are enough. You are more than enough. You are magnificent. You are more than enough. Only you do not know. You just do not know. So I want you to know, RJ, that you are more than enough and you are magnificent to do whatever and to achieve whatever you want.
I have no doubt of that at this point. In fact, that's why I don't use the word becoming. I use being, because I am. You know what I mean? Whatever comes after that, it doesn't matter because that helps empower me. I am. I know who I am. So thank you for that, Cora. I am enough.
You are enough.
We'll tell you guys something that I'm working on. My next event, like you said, Cora, commit, pick the date. I don't have the exact date, but Linda knows about this. We've talked about this briefly, where I'm creating an awards ceremony where I want to recognize different leaders in our community, in our connections, who are doing these empowering things. I want to designate them as beacons. So I'm working on a Beacons Awards ceremony that's going to take place in January 2023. I don't have the exact date, but it is going to happen in January 2023. And I want that to be a hybrid event. In other words, I want it to be live on stage, but I also want to, because people are going to be across the world, basically globally, that we're going to recognize. So I want to be able to bring them to people and recognize them, give them their award, and recognize them, designate them as a beacon. So that's what I'm working on, or Curtis and I, through Beacon of Leadership, are working on for January 2023. So you can find out more about us and what we do. Again, if you can see it over my shoulder, our website is beaconofleadership.com. You've joined us today in the Leaders Lighthouse. What is our podcast? Our voice to carry this message to you. So, ladies, thank you for being a part of this. This was an amazing discussion on something that people can easily apply to their lives and achieve that definite major purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You.
Good night. Bye.